Hi everyone, this is Bernadette. I wanted to take some time while many of us are at home with our young children and are looking for ways to continue to support their development to talk about one area that's really important but can easily be overlooked and can at times feel a little bit intimidating. And that is the area of math. So for the next few videos, I will be discussing different foundational math skills with the hopes that this general information will help demonstrate ways that we can easily incorporate math learning into the things that we already do and to provide some additional ideas that can be used to deepen math learning while we're here at home. But before I go into any of these skills, I want to first talk about our mathitude. Our mathitude is the attitude with which we approach math learning. I have met a lot of people with really bad mathitudes who are self-proclaimed math haters. And I think that's really unfortunate because like watercolors or poetry or clay, math is another language. And when we learn math as a language, it gives us another outlet that we can use to express ourselves and our ideas with other people. So the way that we approach math learning with a positive mathitude is really important. When we approach it with the same sense of curiosity and wonder that we approach other subjects, we can work to instill a love of math in our children rather than an aversion to it. We can build their positive mathitude that will carry on throughout the rest of their education. So with that being said, the first topic I want to discuss are counting and quantity. Counting objects and answering questions of how many are fundamental skills for preschool children. However, these skills are built upon more basic math understandings and skills. The first of these foundational skills is rote counting. And rote counting is simply reciting the numbers in order. This doesn't require any understanding of what the numbers represent, but rather just a memorization of the numbers in proper sequence. Anytime that you count out loud or sing songs with numbers or read books with numbers, this helps strengthen children's skills in rote counting. With all of the hand washing that we're doing these days, this is a good time to practice that rote counting as we count and wash our hands. For the older children who are working on numbers past 20, it helps to point out some of the patterns that we see when we're counting. So after 20, we have 21, 22, 23, up to 29, and then 30. Then 31, 32, 33, up to 39, and then 40. So the numbers just keep repeating until we hit the tens place. And with the tens, in the same way that 2 comes after 1, 20 comes after 10. And the same way that 3 comes after 2, 30 comes after 20. So we can start pointing out these patterns for children as they work to increase their rote counting past 20 and up to working toward 100. The next foundational concept is one-to-one correspondence. And this is when we're pairing one object with one other object. So anytime that children are pairing objects together, this is strengthening their understanding of one-to-one correspondence. For example, when they put one shoe on one foot and then one other shoe on one other foot, or if they're helping set the table and they put one plate out for each person. Those are ways that they build an understanding of one-to-one correspondence. As children move to rational counting, that is counting objects, they combine their knowledge of proper numerical sequencing that comes from the rote counting with the one-to-one correspondence to match each object with one unique number in the proper order. So when I count my fingers and give each finger a number, 1 finger, 2 finger, 3 finger, 4 finger, 5 finger, that is rational counting. To determine quantity and answer how many, children then need to understand that the last number assigned to the last object while counting is the total number of objects in that set, the cardinality. So back to my fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that last number 5 is the total number of fingers that I'm holding up. Now, each of these concepts follows a developmental progression, but that doesn't mean math activities need to follow a progression. Many counting activities already address or can be slightly modified to address each of these skills.
So next I'm going to go through some ideas for counting activities. As you can see, spread out on my table is a collection of random objects. Loose parts such as these are really great materials to use for counting activities. In this collection, there are two main types of materials: small objects to count, such as corks, stickers, glass beads, pennies, rocks, my son's little action figures, and some small dinosaurs. And then things to put them in, such as Tupperware containers and this chocolate thing, Easter eggs, egg cartons, and even a paper with circles on it. Having small objects to place inside of things really helps with that one-to-one correspondence. So one penny can go into one section of the chocolate thing, 1, 2, 3, 4. One rock can go into each section of the egg carton, 1, 2. One sticker can go onto each circle, 1, 2 stickers. Or you can use the figures, one figure on that circle, one figure on that circle. The dinosaurs, one can go into each container, one lid on each container, another dinosaur, and another lid on another container. Get that lid on there. Or one cork can go in each of the plastic eggs, one in that one and one in that one. If you also want to work on number recognition, you can write numbers on the egg carton there, or inside of the circles, or in each of the little chocolate thing slots, or taped inside of the Tupperware. So basically, any combination of objects to count and containers that you can find around the house will make excellent counting materials. Here I've used small objects and containers, but bigger objects and containers can be used as well. Other types of play can also incorporate counting and one-to-one correspondence. Here I have 5 stuffies, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5 pretend cups of tea, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When I count out 1 cup of tea for each stuffy, I'm strengthening my understanding of one-to-one correspondence and practicing my counting. Next to the stuffies, I have a set of cars, and I've used Jenga bricks to make garages for them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As I'm playing with the cars, I can park each car in one of the garages. This one, and vroom, 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 vroom in that one. So there's lots of opportunities to build counting skills during play. Songs and rhymes are other useful tools to help strengthen children's counting skills. One that I've often used with my son is 5 Little Ducks, which goes like this. 5 little ducks went out to play over the hills and far away. Mother duck said quack, 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 but only 4 little ducks came back. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 little ducks went out to play, and it repeats on like that until the mother duck has to go find her ducklings. I like crafting, so I made some hand puppets to go along with it. The extra visuals are nice, but they are definitely not needed as your fingers are more than enough to have fun with this song. One of my favorite songs to use is 5 Green and Speckled Frogs. And that one goes like this. 5 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating the most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Then there were 4 green speckled frogs. Glub, glub. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, and it continues on like that until all the frogs have jumped into the water. For this one, I made a little picture board with the frogs that are velcroed onto the log. As the song progresses, the frogs can be pulled off and put into the water pouch. This one is also fun to have groups of children act out and can be adjusted to accommodate any group size. There are lots of counting rhymes that you can find online. You can also create some based on your own child's interest. Here is one that I created about trains. One little train, blaring choo-choo, sees another train, and then there were two. Two little trains passing by a tree spy another train, and then there were three. Three little trains moving with a roar find another train, and then there were four. Four little trains going for a drive spot another train, and then there were five. Five little trains with a clickety-clack arrive at the train yard, happy to be back. Again, having visuals to go with these songs or rhymes is nice, but definitely not necessary. We can also use books to help children practice their counting. Here we have a classic counting book, The Very Hungry Caterpillar, where we can count all the various foods that the caterpillar eats. Another counting classic is 10, 9, 8. I like this one because it shows the number and it has objects to count that are a little less obvious. But books don't have to have numbers to be helpful in counting. For example, in the classic book Where the Wild Things Are, when Max comes upon the land of the wild things, it's a good opportunity to count the number of wild things that he sees. But perhaps my favorite activity that develops children's counting and one-to-one correspondence is board games. Games like Chutes and Ladders require that children count each space as they move along the game board. What's nice about Chutes and Ladders also is that it helps familiarize children with the number line up to 100. Another fun counting game is Count Your Chickens. Again, in this game, children have to count each space as they move across the game board. Then they also have to count the number of chicks that corresponds with the number of moves that they made. You can also create your own game with a game board and a spinner or some playing cards or a die and game pieces like pennies, glass beads, or rocks. There are many ways a game like this can be played. You can use one method to determine the number, or you can use multiple methods, or each person has their own method. You can use one type of game piece and everyone works together using the same piece. Or you can have each player have their own type of game piece. After you fill the board all the way to the top, you can even count how many of each type of game piece are on the board. When I played with my son, he liked to place the pieces randomly around the board. What's nice is that when you make up your own game, you get to make up your own rules. But counting skills aren't only strengthened during counting activities. Counting can be incorporated into our daily lives, such as when we go grocery shopping, during bath time, while out on a walk, when building with blocks, or even when setting the table. Every day brings countless opportunities to build children's counting skills. So that is all I have today on counting and quantities. I hope that this information and the ideas presented here help you feel empowered to support math learning at home. Thank you for watching and have a great day.